What is up, geeks and geekettes? It's a very special edition of the Countdowns to the Geekcast. My name is Ted, aka Steady, and this is going to be our Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 non spoiler review. Joining me is Daniel from the Legacy Nerd.
Hello, everyone. It was an awesome movie. You're gonna love it.
He's getting ahead of himself. Here we go. And we also got from the Star Wars Stuff podcast, you know him, Dave Lozano.
Hello, everybody.
Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Awesome. Again, non-spoiler review. We all just got out of early screening in our hometown, and we're just gonna start off real quick with general thoughts, initial reactions. Like, how are you feeling? Just getting out of the theater and seeing it just a couple hours ago. Daniel, start with you, man.
Came out feeling satisfied. Like it was a very complete movie. It was a very good movie. Definitely among the best movies we've had since Endgame. I want to say, up there with. I don't know if it. I put it up there with No Way Home right now. I'm kind of on a high right now on it, but it felt really good watching those characters again. And I have said this on other streams before, like this isn't necessarily a movie that I was completely looking forward to. I was more interested in some other movies that are coming out that are looking like they're going to be train wrecks now. But this one, it was very happy that I picked this one to go see uh, for to review, and it was very satisfying. It's like my initial reaction coming out of the theater was that's how I felt. Uh, More thoughts and ideas we can go into later, but that's definitely my initial reaction.
Awesome. How about you, Dave?
It was a lot. For me, I was on edge the whole time, wondering about the fate of these characters that I think I'm very emotionally tied to. That very first movie was a big movie for me and my family, and I think we bonded over it. And um, I watched that film, the first Guardians of the Galaxy, just about every year with my family, and I'm a big Guardians of the Galaxy fan, and I was just on edge. And there was a lot on the screen, a lot to process. Um, a lot of music, and I have opinions on that too. But overall, yeah, it put me through the ringer emotionally, and I was just on edge the whole time.
I'm going to second that. This is a roller coaster of emotions type of movie, and same thing with you guys. Walked out feeling very elated, very satisfied. I thought it was a perfect sort of uh, chapter ending book for the Guardians because this is James Gunn's trilogy sort of completing, and he's also shipped off to DC. So I don't think anybody expects any Guardians movies in the near future. But it's also somewhat I kind of use this word, but I'm using trying to use it in a positive way. Very exhausting. This movie doesn't waste any time, and again, no spoilers. This movie doesn't waste any time getting into sort of the plot and the thick of things, and for a 2.5 hour runtime where the audience is always laughing, uh, crying, cheering, or just being so invested in whatever's happening on the screen at the time. It's just it never lets go of you. It sort of puts you in a headlock and just never lets go. And it gives you a couple of noogies from time to time, just like burns on your top of your head. And it's just a movie that I just was not ever sitting back into my chair being relaxed about anything that was happening. There was either a little bit of anxiety, like David said, or I was just laughing out loud like crazy, or I was just so invested in what the characters were doing, the conversations they had, the relationships, the dynamic between the characters, all the action sequences. I mean, I can't think of too much that I'm going to say I dislike about this movie. But just from top to bottom, it just felt so right, and like David said, complete. And from the performances to just the story itself being so captivating and so deep and just so emotional. there's not gonna be a dry eye in any theater across the world in this movie. There's just so many parts of this movie that pull at your heartstrings, and when it's not doing that, you're just laughing your tail off because this thing is so damn witty. It's so funny. I love all the one-liners. Everybody gets their time to shine. It's not like it's just Quill. It's not like it's just Drax. Everybody sort of has these moments like sprinkled throughout the entire movie. It's a great, super great ensemble balance that James pulls off in this one. Other movies, some characters have a lot more to do than others, and that's totally fine. This one, there's just so much interaction with like different characters throughout, and it's always different what they're doing. Sometimes, they're joking with each other. A lot of times they're fighting with one another.
Whoever it was that you were in love with, it sounds more like her.
Her? That's
Do
ridiculous.
not bring me into this.
Knock it off!
What?
Just never noticed how black your eyes were.
They were replaced by my father as a method of torture.
He picked a pretty set.
Look, I've said a lot already, but James knows how to incorporate sort of a dynamic family relationship into a lot of his movies. This one more so than any others. I think he just really nails it, and I just love the man for it. I mean, seriously, this movie was just a lot of things. It was incredible. I loved it. I'm gonna watch it again very soon, and I hope you guys watch it too. Daniel, talk a little bit about some of the things that really worked for you, or maybe didn't work for you in this movie.
Well, like you said, the pacing is like you once you start the movie, like you're going. So if
Gone.
anybody that has not watched the Christmas special, I really highly recommend you watch the Christmas special because it's definitely watching it. It's kind of like a prelude of how things are. So you're not just okay. Why are they here right now, or why is this already kind of them saying certain things already, like just nonchalantly because those things were set up in the Christmas story, the Christmas episode that came out in December. So I really highly recommend everybody watch that because it's definitely, like I said, like a prologue to this movie. What really worked for me, the writing and the comedic jokes were perfect. The it's and I'm saying it's kind of like in the middle of how it worked for me, and I kind of didn't work for me, but we know from the trailer that we are going to see how Rocket became the way he is. And
A lot of
you do
backstory. Yeah.
you do see that, and it's sometimes be so since you're so emotionally invested in Rocket, it's kind of hard to watch. Like it's kind of like sad, and it's kind of like it's gut wrenching because it's just like you're seeing what you're seeing, and you're seeing this sweet being become being worked on and becoming how it became Rocket. It wasn't strawberry fields and dandelions. It was very harsh, and that's one thing that you may dislike, but because of the story, you're going to understand why, and you're going to appreciate it later on. That being said, if you are easily a person that cries during movies, you're going to cry during this movie. I guarantee you. I was close. I didn't get there. I was looked over, and my fiance was all blubbery and everything. I didn't expect that from her either. Um, and also just seeing her reaction to it as a casual Marvel fan, a casual superhero fan, and seeing how much she was laughing and crying and interacting with the movie. That's what made me was like this movie's good because I know she doesn't know every single detail like I do, and she's enjoying it as much as I am. And so that is something you will see with people that you go. I think this is a very good date movie. This is a very good movie to take maybe older kids. I will warn parents, there are two scenes with some language, but you will definitely see them coming. I feel like they are kind of coming, and you may get a chance to do earmuffs. So there's two quick scenes. Other than that, it's no big deal. The one thing that kind of leads into the one thing that I kind of thought they could do, or maybe I might have felt like could have been done differently, is I could see this movie going rated R. And I understand why it wasn't rated R, and I understand the marketability and the love that Guardians has with children and teenagers and so forth. But this movie easily could have gone the rated R way, and it may have achieved more for that. And but
Mm.
that's just sort of my opinion on that. It is still a very complete, a very good movie. Um, like I can't find many faults with it. You know, this is clearly an end to era. I won't say it's an end to the characters. I think it's an end to the incarnation of the Guardians as we see now, or we have known since now. And so you, it kind of you kind of see that going in during the movie, and you kind of understand like this is going to be different after this. So you're definitely enjoying it on the road to that as well. Um, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, like I felt like it was really, like I said, like it was a really complete movie. There's crying moments, laughing moments. You're gonna be very happy with this entry. Like as far as I don't know if we're in phase 5 or I don't even care anymore what phase we are anymore. But like, uh,
I was just gonna say, like, when this was announced, when the whole Phase 4 was announced, this was the final film in that Phase 4 slate.
Before the
Now,
pandemic,
if
right?
right, if it's still like that, I'm not really sure because I thought I heard people saying like,
Quantumania was the start of Phase 5.
Quantumania was the
yeah, that's what
start.
I thought so
Yeah,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
so they shifted things a little bit there somehow.
I can say that this movie is definitely. I think it's going to be more widely accepted than Love and Thunder and Doctor Strange and even Black Panther. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got for it. I enjoyed it very much.
Hell yeah, Dave, what worked for you, man?
I, I'll echo some of what Daniel's saying with the pacing, the writing, the jokes per minute. I guess I think that was right on target. A typical Guardian type humor. What else worked for me? I liked a few of the songs. I don't think this is something I don't think worked for me per se, but the song selection with the flow of what the pacing in the film was, I think they maybe could have found better songs, so to speak.
Yeah.
Um, but I know you said when we're walking out into the lobby that was one of the greatest soundtracks. I like the sound, the music as singular pieces, but for this movie, I didn't think they worked as well as they did for the very first movie, and maybe even Volume 2. But yeah, everyone had something to do. Every character had something to do. There was no one really kind of left by the wayside. I know other reviewers said maybe there was a little bit of that with Adam Warlock, but I think he was in there just enough for it being an end of a trilogy, and we had to kind of get a wrap up on the main characters of the Guardians. Um, as a whole, the way the story wrapped up, I did like that. Um, I think maybe some people won't like
Mm.
the eventual ending that you get. I did like the length of the film. I totally like when films are at least 2.5 hours. Um, there's a lot going on. The special effects. There's one action scene towards the end where
Oh my
I
god.
was saying to myself, this took them the whole time from pre-production till final cut to complete that and make it look as good as it did. Um,
Had sort of Daredevil vibes to it, season one, a
I
little
know what you're
bit.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, and the camera movements I thought were um, pretty dynamic, and
That's James Gunn, man.
I love the way the camera moved. But yeah, as to give my final say on this film, like I said, I was on edge. I was worried about the fate of the characters, um, and how the movie is and will be perceived by the public. I'm really invested in these MCU films, and I want them to do well, to succeed.
yeah.
And this is it for this incarnation of the Guardians of the Galaxy, so to speak, because we all know James Gunn is moving on to DC. He's a co-CEO. He's not coming back to Marvel, so we're not going to get another James Gunn Guardians film. But Yeah, I think that's pretty much. Oh, and the additions too. I did really like Cosmo.
Hey,
Um, and some of the other creature designs in there, I really liked. Um, and yeah, that's the gist of what my opinions are at this moment because it's a lot to take in.
I have another sort of way to describe exactly the flow and pacing of this movie.
Mhm.
It's relentless. It is absolutely relentless, and that could be perceived as a negative thing, but I still mean it in a positive way that you are so engaged the entire time as a member of the audience. Like this movie is so engaging, just like every single minute of every single scene, something's happening, and you just can't help yourself. You're just so pulled into this movie because James Gunn writes these stories that are just so deep and they suck you in and they grab hold of you like Groot would and just like overwhelm you with just how much emotion has been written into this.
Yeah,
Every single you can name 50, 60 lines in this movie that are just so like either
quotable. Yeah.
emotion inducing, yeah, quotable, the funny jokes and stuff like that. I remember like 10 or 15 of them because they were so hilarious, and they're in a way the same tones of previous films, but they've evolved a little bit. This family's gotten older, and so their interactions are a little bit more aggressive than they were beforehand, and so it's just a great evolution of these characters of this specific franchise. I absolutely loved it, and
I do want to say, like, I feel like
it's wild.
the team itself is kind of back in its first movie form because I feel like Infinity War sort of I don't want to say belittled them, but sort of made them like the mess ups of the entire cat. You know, obviously Star Lord is the reason, you know, they lost for Thanos, but uh I feel like this third movie brings them back to that first movie sort of form, you know, but still like, you know, evolved as well, you know. And I think I read an article that said that James Gunn was not really happy with how they were written in Infinity War. I know they were just in Endgame for a second, but I could see him undoing some stuff that were done in Infinity War for sure.
And I know that a lot of people say that there's like half the fan base blames Quill for Infinity War, but on the other side of the coin, Doctor Strange said there was only one way this was going to go if they were to succeed. And so by that token, like it had to happen this way.
Hmm.
Doctor Strange let it happen this way because it was the only way this team would succeed. Why he couldn't have just opened a portal on Thanos's wrist and cut off the gauntlet, I don't know.
Yeah, that's
We'll
true.
ask him next time we see him. But it's fine. We're not going back into that. We're in phase 5 now, ladies and gentlemen. It's all good. So here's the part of the show we're gonna give a real quick Geekcast rating. Scale is 1 to 5, 5 being my personal favorite, Captain America: Winter Soldier, still the top of my list. And one being Thor: The Dark World, Thor 2: The Dark World. We'll go with that. Who knows? But I'll just go first. This one to me is absolutely solid. I really want to not give it a perfect score because I want to find some sort of reason to do so. But like this, no movie's ever done this to me. No movie's ever said like we're gonna keep you laughing or emotional or just on the edge of your seat like the entire freaking time for 2.5 hours. So for that reason alone, it kind of gets my respect and praise. I give it a 5. I give it a 5, and that doesn't mean it's a completely flawless movie. That just means like I'm gonna put this above a ton of other stuff that we've talked about on this show. I would definitely put in my top tier of Marvel films. I probably have like a top, middle, and a bottom tier. This is easily top tier. Probably I might be able to fit in my top 5. I'll say that. Daniel, what about you, man?
I think I give it like a 4.5. If I have to give it a solid number, I give it a 4. But
4.5
this
works. Yeah.
I think you know, it brings us back to sort of some of the Marvel that we are. I feel like the audience has been missing. It's more recognizable in the way of how it makes you feel, how much you enjoy it, action sequences, storytelling. I feel it kind of brings it back a little bit. I know we kind of been experimenting lately on some storytelling elements that people may not have agreed with, but this will bring you. I feel this is like more of a classic phase one, two, or three movie that people just get crazy over about. And especially it being Guardians, because Guardians is it was supposed to be the one that never worked. Guardians was supposed to be the one that failed. So I think bringing this story to, or bringing this era, I think it is fair to say with Guardians, because Marvel is not going to let that money train run out. But bringing this era to an end, it felt complete. It felt right. I will add something from the future. There's a scene in the first 5 minutes. It's an action scene, and it will give you some hints as to what we may be seeing action wise in the future with James Gunn in his current projects.
Ooh. Dun dun dun. Lozano, what about you, man?
Um, I would say I would give it a 4. Um, I definitely do want to watch it again, and we will watch it again on Friday, to get my kind of anxiety-free
Yeah,
rewatch, because I was just so on edge, guys. It was tough to kind of reconcile that I was at the last premiere at a Guardians film, as we know it, for James Gunn. But yeah, the music I already commented on that. I thought it was decent. But like I said, I got to watch it again. The action scenes, the CGI, there was a lot on the screen. We saw it in IMAX, so we had a bigger format, and there was a lot of stuff going on, a lot of characters on the screen, a lot of the time, and characters that I think we did predict before the actual screening that popped up, and I was happy about that. Um,
Absolutely.
and yeah, like Daniel said, you're gonna get a little preview of what James Gunn's gonna offer us in the future on the DC side of the house, for fandom. So, and yeah, I'm really interested to see where the future and what the future holds for the characters going forward, um, in the Guardians side of the house for Marvel. So I'm excited for the future.
Absolutely. That brings our overall Geekcast rating to a 4.5. Not too shabby, as I always say. That's probably one of the higher Marvel movies, definitely, that we've rated here. And go check it out. Guardians of the Galaxy opens this weekend everywhere. Take your friends, take your family. Um, be prepared. Prepare yourself, because it is a roller coaster of a ride. It is a big movie. It is a bold movie, and you'll be on the edge of your seat pretty much from start to finish, like we've already talked about. For the Geekcast, my name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me on this Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 non-spoiler review is Daniel from the Legacy Nerd.
guys, go see it. It's worth a watch for sure.
And we also got from the Star Wars Stuff podcast, Dave Lozano.
Yeah, check it out and tell us what you think. And David Lozano will return.
Absolutely. And for anybody who joined us at the advanced screening because you follow us on countdowncitygeeks.com, congratulations. If you would like to attend a future advanced screening in the San Antonio or the Houston area, be sure to check back on our website frequently. Also, follow us on social media so that you can get updates whenever we have more passes. And we're going to have a lot more all summer long. Peace, guys. See you next time.